Hey, good morning, everyone. Dan the Glassman here. You're watching the Glassman's World, and we are about to get started making more jellyfish. This is the one that we made yesterday. As you can see, it's got that little bit of the red tinge and everything to it. Here, let me turn the camera around real quick and get you a better view of that. Hopefully. I probably need to get you some better lighting. There we go. Yeah, so you can see that orange-ish. It should have been red. Should have been a lot darker or when we were making that red yesterday. And what I found out is actually in the video, I thought I had red, but when I was wearing my glasses, what's interesting is the color that I chose wasn't red, but my glasses that I'm wearing here, so sorry about that. So the glasses here, these are so dark that when I was picking up that color, I was seeing two reds and not an orange and a red. So we still have yet to make a red ribbon cane. Sorry, it's early. I just woke up. We just had a quick dab session, and so let's refresh this and make sure we are on the video here. I'm also getting the colors started and getting them ready here. So we're gonna get the camera set up again for you guys here. So let's turn this around and get it all set up here. Back in the position to where you guys can blow glass with me. So we tried this out yesterday, and I really loved it. It worked out really well. So we're gonna do this again today, and I'm gonna try to get it in a position to where it's not gonna be in my way, and you'll be able to see pretty much everything that's going on the table here. Yeah, that's probably good. All right, so hopefully I won't be getting in the way too much here, and we'll get started here. So let's turn on the propane oxygen. Remember, propane oxygen. When you turn off oxygen, then propane. So propane, then oxygen, and then you bring the propane up, bring the oxygen up, match them. Always propane first, then oxygen. When you're bringing it down, you bring the oxygen down, propane down. See that? So anytime that you're doing that, it's propane, oxygen, oxygen, propane, poop. Always remember that. All right, so today we're getting the jellyfish rainbow colors going. And so this is a request from our 4-year-old son. And so we're getting the colors ready. And I'm trying to think of the, check it out. There's the jellyfish right there. That's yesterday's. So I'm going to set this aside. I'll set this next to the other one we made. So I need to, here's also, I'm going to have to take this off, this cane here. You can just cut it off right here and then we'll use it. So I don't think we wanted this end here. We just wanted this little portion of it. So yeah, let's cut that off. That way we have this rod to use, the 16 millimeter rod here. So we'll just cut this off and then we'll set it down. We'll let it cool off before we utilize this. And we probably won't use this today because we're going to be making a rainbow ribbon cane. So in order to make a jellyfish, you need to make a ribbon cane, right? Now I'm going to just set this right here so I don't lose it. And a ribbon cane we made yesterday, they take a little bit of time. Actually, it takes a lot longer to make the ribbon cane than it does to make the actual jellyfish. The jellyfish I think we made in 30 minutes yesterday, and the ribbon cane took an hour. So we need to work on the ribbon cane right now. So that's going to take about an hour to make. So we got our clear glass here. I was thinking about cleaning up, but let's just get started. I can work with this mess here, and we'll just figure out what to grab, what we can grab, and what we need for our colors and our things. Okay. Also, I do believe that I worked with some rainbow color before, so I may have some scraps of rainbow around. I just don't know if I have any more left over from before. I was thinking though, if I did have that cane still, that I could utilize it for the mushroom, or not the mushroom, but the jellyfish bell or the head. But I don't see it here. It would just be a little piece of scrap glass that I would have somewhere on my desk up here. Oh yeah, also, we're going to be playing with diodes sometime soon. And we're going to be seeing if we can, well, I'm not going to tell you what we're going to do, but we're going to be playing around with diodes soon. Alright, I don't know if we have any more of that color. I'm looking around at all my scraps, and I'm not seeing any of that rainbow anywhere. Got a lot of garnet, a lot of amber. I guess I can move some of this stuff away. We got the garnets. Oh, that's a good one. We can actually utilize that. Alright, I don't see any rainbow color up here. None of these are rainbow tips. Okay. Alright, good to know. I guess we'll have to make one then. Somehow. That's interesting. Did I use up all the rainbow last time? Okay. Alright, so I do believe that we have all the colors of the rainbow here. We got the red, the orange, the yellow, the green, blue. We're using cobalt blue. We got a purple, and then this light purple here, which I'm guessing like the indigo. But is that the correct colors? I think that's right. I think it is. So I'm going to look it up real quick and just make sure we have all the proper colors of the rainbow. So I'm pretty sure that's right. But I'm like, is there two different like purples at the end? Am I forgetting one? Alright, so we'll see. And let's make sure that we got the live chat here all up. Okay, so yeah, blue, indigo, and violet. Yeah, the Roy G. Biv. Violet. Violet looks almost reddish, right? Like a purple red. We don't have any purple red. Okay. Yeah, I don't think there's anything even close to a violet in glass. So we might just not worry about that color. So we'll just go with 6 colors. And it'll still be rainbow colors, just won't have the violet in there. But I don't think there's anything I could use to create a violet. That's an interesting color there. I don't know if you can see that. But that's the violet there that I see. Alright, so let's just get started here. So what I need to do first, we need to pull stringers. So yesterday, we maybe talked about pulling stringers, but I don't know if we actually got into it. And being that we're just going to be making a rainbow ribbon cane, we're going to pull these slightly thin. So you just heat that up and then just give a slow pull. I'm trying to figure out how thick I really want it to be. I got to draw 6 of these, so I need, you know, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, about that thick. That'll probably be a good thickness there. Heat up this tip. I'll try not to waste this tip at all. Some people just pull it right off, but I like to heat it up and then pull it to where we can get it to that same thickness as the rest of that rod there. So then we can utilize the whole thing. So we're minimizing our waste, not wasting all of our color. Alright, so there's the red. And we'll go with the orange. We'll just go down the 6 colors here. Like I said, we're just going to keep out the violet, because the violet's like a purplish, reddish purple is what I see. The violet. Like a plum, you know, a plum color. And I don't have that sort of color here. I don't know if they even make that color in glass. There's some colors that they can make and some they can't. It's not like these are paints. Can't just be like, oh, well, can't you just get some paints and do this and do that? Like, no. These are pigments of colors that are made from different elements, different metals, oxides, things like that. It's alchemy, it's chemistry when you're talking about the different colors of glass. All the different colors are made with different elements. So like reds and purples, I do believe they use a lot of gold in order to make reds and purples. Here, I'm going to actually pull that off. It got a little too thick and chunky there. So we're just making little short stringers, as you can see. Not too long. I say that's what, a good 3 inches or something like that. Like 2.5. And we're just going to keep on going. We're almost halfway through. We're at the yellow now. This is the canary yellow, I believe. So I believe all of these bright colors here are from glass alchemy. And then I have some colors that are North Star colors. And North Star Glass, that's the first company color glass that I ever started working with. And I've always stuck with a lot of my original colors that I learned how to work with, such as the cobalt blue, the butterscotch and caramels, the ruby reds, um, all of the original multi-colors, like the dark multis, the blue aquatics and carnivals and things like that. Oh, see, getting stuck there. And we're going to take off this little tip here because yellow tends to get a little bubbly, so we'll get rid of those air bubbles. We don't have to worry about any of that. Now this green is already pre-pulled. I'm wondering if that's, well, it's not thin enough. And so now in order to pull this whole thing, we're going to have to try to heat up the whole thing and pull it gently. And try to heat it up consistently and evenly so we can get a nice even pull on it. And more heat towards the thicker area there, less heat towards the thinner part at the tip here. Okay, now let me get back over here to the live glass blowing, making a rainbow jellyfish. So this is a request by our son, our 4-year-old. He asked if I could make a rainbow jellyfish. So this will probably be his, even though it's worth like so much. But it's fun. You know, what's cool is our son, he's got all these cool marble tracks and things. He has no idea, like, some of his little marble racers are $10 and $20 marbles. He has no idea. Alright, so now we're into the cobalt here. So this is already pulled as well, but we still need it thinner. See, in this borosilicate glass, as you can see, it sets up pretty quickly within a few seconds. So if you don't grab it and do what you need to do, within like 3 to 5 seconds, it then solidifies again, and you got to go back and reheat it. With soft glass, or the offhand glass, the glass that most people are familiar with, the furnace glass, they make a lot of big vases or vases, you know, different sorts of cups, goblets, things like that. Pitchers for drinking Kool-Aid, lemonade, making dishes, those kind of things. That glass there, most people are familiar with that. And that glass tends to stay soft a lot longer, so you can play with it a lot longer as well. But then it doesn't set up, so you have to spend more time spinning it and holding it in place. Whereas our glass, you know, it sets up pretty quickly. So, you know, there's different mediums of glass even, you know, like in paints, you know, there's a lot of different painters, but not all painters work in the same fields, you know, or same mediums. Some work in watercolors, some work in acrylic paints, some work in oil paints. Some individuals, canvas artists, are pastel workers or charcoal. So there's all kinds of different mediums in glass as well. You got stained glass, you have the soft glass or the furnace glass, the offhand glass. You have the lamp working glass, the borosilicate glass here. Also, there's the lamp working glass where you use a torch, but they work in soft glass like the Moretti and the bullseye glass as well. And they use a map gas torch. So anyone could just go buy a torch from your local hardware store and start blowing glass with soft glass. And soft glass is not compatible with this glass, with the borosilicate, so you can't mix them. So you have to keep the glass separate. I have boxes of soft glass, but I have to keep it all separate. And it looks the same. It looks identical. Okay, so we have all 6 colors of the rainbow pooled. I know there's 7. There should be a violet in there, but we don't have violet. So we're not even going to worry about it. And I just wanted to grab a color here and just kind of show you if I can. I don't know if I even can. They're all wrapped up or something. Okay, yeah, so here you go. This right here. It looks just the same as any other glass, right? Looks the same as any other glass. But this is soft glass. If I were to put this in the flame right here, it would probably pop. And also, this torch here is a a premix torch. So that means that your oxygen and your propane are pre-mixing right in here before it reaches into the torch here. So this is a premix torch, hotter torch. This will burn the glass. So all of this, like, it looks all nice, and I don't know what color that is, yellow. If I were to put this in the flame, it would just go black or like a dark brown or whatever here. However, my lower flame, which is bigger, my large torch here on the bottom, this is actually a surface mix, and I could work the soft glass in there, but we're not going to work it. I just wanted to show you that, there's soft glass and there's borosilicate, the glass that we work, and so not all glass is the same. Some people will be like, oh, you think you can take this glass I broke and turn it into a pipe or turn it into a pendant or turn it, it's like, I don't know, because I don't know what color, I don't know what glass it is, I don't know if it's Moretti, bullseye, or what. So yeah, you have to understand that there's different mediums. You can't mix oil paints with acrylic paints, or at least there are certain ways, I guess, that you could do it, something like that. All right, so let's keep going here. All right, so we got this one here to do the jellyfish pool. We got some clear glass here. So let's get started on making the. All right, let me clean it up with the Norwex OptiCloth here. I got it on my torch. We'll make sure there's no dust, dirt, debris, fingerprints, or anything like that. Let's get this flame up. And we'll get this tip melted and flattened. And what I might do today is just flatten one side of this, and then we're going to join rods together instead of how I did it yesterday. We're going to do it a little bit different. I'll show you another technique. There's lots of different ways that you can do things, and how you can manipulate glass, melt it, shape it, form it, bend it, pull it, push it, whatever you need to do to manipulate it and shape it into what you're trying to shape it. Whether it's solid glass like this, or if you're actually working with a hollow tubing and actually blowing into the tube. A lot of people ask me, why do you call it blowing glass if you never blow into it? And it's actually, this is called lamp working. It's basically, the torch is known as the lamp. And so this is lamp working with borosilicate glass, technically. But most people just know glass work is just glass blowing. So we just call it glass blowing, but this is technically lamp working. And, oh yeah, what are we doing? We're going to heat up one side. I forgot. So kind of like the way we would do a bracelet. You just heat up one side of the rod, and then you flatten it. So you keep this side here away from the flame. And that'll stay rounded on this side, but we want it to be flat here. That way we can create a drawing surface, is what we're going for. I'm going to move all this over a little bit so I have more room. So I'm just heating up the one side over here, keeping the flame on this side. I'm not really spinning the rod at all, just kind of rotating it from side to side, just spinning it there, kind of giving it a little bit of a rotation, maybe like a 45-degree turn, maybe less than that probably. Just getting this bottom surface, and then we're going to push it here onto the pad, and we're going to utilize the paddle. Try not to get it too flat. And we're just going to flatten it like this. Then we're going to do that with the other rod as well. And we'll have two rods ready to go. So that way they're both shaped identical. And that way when we attach them together, I won't have to add more glass and add more glass like we did yesterday. Just want to make sure it's all cooled down before we get the Norwex Opti cloth on there. I don't want to ever melt my cloth. And get rid of all the fingerprints and dust and all that. It's always good to wash your hands first before blowing glass so you don't get your glass, your clean rods and tubes and everything full of gunk, full of sweat and stuff like that. And also, you know, if you have issues with that, just bring yourself a washcloth so you can keep your hands wiped and clean while you're blowing glass too. I know some individuals, they have issues with sweat glands in their hands, and you're working next to heat, right? So I'm sure if you have that issue and then you start working with the flame, I'm sure it exasperates it even more, right? Alright, so we're just going to do the same thing, just get about an inch or so of this area on the rod nice and warm, or actually molten, not just warm but molten. That way we can flatten it on the pad here. I see we got a couple people watching. Thank you for tuning in and watching. I'm Dan the Glassman, working here in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and working in borosilicate glass, working on a jellyfish. Right now we're going to make the ribbon cane, and you need to make a ribbon cane, which will, you know, turn out looking similar to something like this here. Let me grab one of these. I can show you. So it'll look something very similar to this here. And that way we can use this for the tentacles and all that. I don't know if you can actually see that while I'm working. Let me try to bring that closer to the, there you go. So you can see the twist in there and all the color on the end. And so that's a ribbon cane. We got another really large one here. It's got some orange in it. So we utilize these ribbon canes for making the tentacles in the jellyfish. And it's really important to learn how to make, you know, your twisted canes. And maybe not in this video, but maybe later on, we'll do some basics on how to do twisted canes, latticino, ribbon canes, things like that. More advanced ribbon cane, doing layer upon layer ribbon cane, where then, you know, your ribbon canes can actually turn into some very beautiful marbles. All you have to do is cut off those tips, you know, and round them up. Round up the end of that rod of a ribbon cane. Take off a little portion of it. Round it up, and it's a marble. All right, we're gonna flatten this one out now. Let's go straight down onto the pad, and then use our paddle to just help flatten that out. And now we've got two pieces here that we're going to be able to sandwich together. And you can see this one's a little bit wider, so when we draw it on, we'll probably use this one, and we'll just make sure that we push it on and we'll draw it on. So this will be our first surface, so we'll start with this one. We're going to start laying the rainbow. Oh, also, sorry about this. You got to pull one more color here. I do need a dark. Ooh, that might look really, really nice. This is a brand new color that I won at the marble races. I don't know if you guys saw that. I won second place at the marble races. It was at a bowling alley. So that's his little mini marble. It'd be cool if they actually cut off his hand and attached the glass marble. Because this is the winning marble. This is the one that won second place right here. It would be cool to attach a marble, not the winning marble, but just attach like a clear marble or some kind of marble to that right there. Maybe I'll customize my trophy and we'll do that. You're like, guys, I had to. But I won this color. It's like a black adventuring. It's got like sparkle in it. So let's see what it does. Hopefully it doesn't crack or anything. I would love for this to come out for our 4-year-old. He's the one who requested or asked, can I make a rainbow jellyfish? And I said, yeah, I probably can. And I told him, you know, our 4-year-old, he's so into YouTube videos and things. He watches like Ryan's World and Storybots and all these different shows on there. So he learns about YouTube, and he knows that his mommy and daddy also make live videos and stuff like that. So he's learning about the whole, be sure to subscribe. Like yesterday he came in and he went out there and he told his mama he wanted to watch the Glassman'S World to see me blow glass and make this. To make the jellyfish. I'm like, oh, that's so awesome. Okay, that's Loch Ness, so that's a little bit different color. I'm going to set that over here on the side because that Loch Ness is it's a cool color. Alright, so which one was the bigger one? Let's pick these up again, make sure. This one here. So now let's start laying down the color. And gosh, let's see. So we're going to go 3 and 3. So maybe I should start with the middle colors and work my way out so we can center this better. We'll start with the yellow. We'll bring it here on this side. just my, I like to center things, so I figure, okay, let's just work our way out. So we'll go yellow, then orange and red. And we're going to lay these right next to each other with no space. Yellow, orange, red. Alright, and I'll put those back in the right thing. Now we'll go green. Then we'll go the opposite way. Green. Uh-oh. The colors got mixed up on me there. Then blue. Then purple. I almost put the purple first. Always good to check your work. Somehow those colors got mixed up. Alright. There's the blue. And then the purple. See, and that's why they all have to be nice and skinny, because as you can see, this rainbow, or this ribbon, has now taken up almost the whole surface here. And then we'll encase it with that black adventuring there. So now you can see it took up that much space, right? Then we're going to put that black on each side. And actually we're going to do two to make it super thick on the outside. I just want a dark border, so I'm going to add two. Two of that black right there. Oh, I see there's a little bit of an air gap right there. I'm just going to coat it. Make sure. Alright, there we go. So now, I probably should have added, I should have probably made it a lot wider, so we had a lot more clear glass on the sides, but we'll work with it. And what that means is we're just going to have to add a little bit more clear glass on the outsides to really put this rainbow ribbon cane in the center of this rod here. So what we might do is actually just draw some, man, I wish I had some 7mm rod, and I don't have any other short rods ready to go. Huh. Okay, we're just going to find this here. Let me just heat this up real quick. Make sure we get no crackage or nothing like that. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab this other piece of glass here from the floor. It's all dirty and full of spider webs. So we're going to clean it off here. Again, with the Norwex OptiCloth. Alright. It's so amazing how clean this thing gets it. No water, nothing. Okay, so now I gotta bring up this heat I'm going to use this to draw on the sides here. We got to keep this nice and warm, so we're just going to keep this in the back to flash it off of the heat. And I'm going to put clear glass on each side of this rod. We're going to make this a lot wider. We're going to have to do this with the other one too. So it's a little bit extra work. I was really hoping to get that right, but it's going to make a really awesome ribbon king. And I just want to make sure I'm not losing any of this color. So, I mean, I could encase it later once I sandwich them together, possibly, but I don't know. I'm like, should I do it now? I think so. Yeah, I'm really thinking that I should widen it now. It's going to add clear glass just on that outside. See that? It's making a really nice thick layer of clear glass. You see how I utilized the torch there to kind of help me with mashing things like a marber. You can't do that with every torch though. Not all bodies are strong and heavy duty like this one here. This is an old school Nortel Major. This isn't no lieutenant or no sergeant. This is a major. No, but this is old school torch, and so it's really, you know, it's heavy duty. You can't really break this thing. If you dropped it, maybe you'd tweak some things, but, you know, other than that, why would you be dropping your torch? Alright, I'm going to bring this glass all the way up on top, so I see that color glass trying to peek over. So let's just make sure that's fully encased, and we'll pull that. Alright, so now we just kind of lollipopped it out some. Just made it wider with that clear glass on each side, so you can see now there's a lot more clear glass. So that's going to be better. And we'll probably have to do that with this other one here. So when we attach them all together. Uh-oh, I got a piece of hair or something up here, I felt. Yeah. Always want to get rid of any strings of hair on your table because you don't want those to attach. I got long hair, so I got to worry about that. Some of y'all might be bald-headed and don't have to worry at all. Some of y'all might not have any hair to worry about, or short hairs or whatever. But I got long hair, and I got to make sure it doesn't get in the glass. It'll have like little burnt lines of, like a little dark line of hair going across. You won't know what that is. Like, hey, what's that little black line there? Like, oh, nothing. Nothing. Don't worry about it. Nothing. Alright, I see a little bit of clear glass peeking through right here. I'm going to make sure that this is covered with that black. So, you know, you sometimes have to do little adjustments like that. You just sink it in. No one will know. They're not going to know. No one will notice. They won't know. They're not going to know. Alright, and then just heat up all these colors together. So now we got that ribbon. That's going to be pretty sweet. Kind of wonder if I should have made that black even thicker on the edges. Ooh, and then I see a little bit of clear glass peeking through right here. I'm going to try to just move the color glass over into each other because I don't know what color that is. So we're just going to push the one over a little bit and then push that one over a little bit. And hopefully we can just pinch them together. Without moving them over too much. You know, you want to keep the line straight. That's why, and then also I couldn't just draw on it. I didn't know what color that is. They all just look like a bright orange now at this point. Alright, so now I'm just going to make this clear glass become one with the with that rod there. And then we're going to sandwich that other piece of rod, that clear glass rod, onto the color here. And that way we can sandwich them together and create that ribbon cane. And so like I said, the ribbon, it is one of the longest processes of this, of making the jellyfish. But without knowing how to make a proper ribbon cane, you won't be able to make a really, really decent jellyfish. I mean, yeah, you can just put a little stick in there and call it. But, you know, if you really look at jellyfish and the way they look, their tentacles look like ribbons in the water there, you know. And they just make a ribbon cane jellyfish and you'll see the difference. I know there's a lot of individuals out there who make regular jellyfish with just, you know, a stringer inside of clear glass. You know, maybe you'll encase some color with clear and then pull that and then draw those on top of each other and layer it and then call that a jellyfish. And yeah, it kind of does look like it. You know, if you twist up that color, you can kind of ribbon those out. You can definitely do that with a solid color stringer. I'll show you guys how to do that in another video as well. We'll do all kinds of different ways on how to make the jellyfish here. So this is how I figured out how to make them. I started making these back in 2000, 2001, something like that. And I started playing with making them, you know, trying to figure out how would you do that? How would you make a jellyfish? And I started out with the whole layering upon layers upon layers upon layers. And started doing like more tentacles than you needed. And it made it way too busy and too muddy. And, you know, it took me up until about 2008 to where I really finally figured out how to lessen. Like, oh wait, instead of doing like 100 tentacles, how about we just try one in the middle and a few around that one and call it a day. And ever since I've been doing that pattern of one in the center with like 5 or 6 tentacles around that center one, they've come out looking gorgeous and just so realistic. And so it took me years to perfect them, you know, from 2000, 2001 till 2008. So, you know, a good 7-8 years that it took me to perfect these. But it wasn't like I was working on them every day, you know. It'd be like maybe once in a while I'd be like, hey, you know, I should try that again. And then it wouldn't come out, like, whatever. And I'd put it away. And then I'd come back to it later. Let's try that again. You know, and I finally was like, wait, hold on. Let me try this and try that. And boom, it worked out. Alright, so I think we're ready now to encase all this glass here. And what I'm hoping to do is just to heat up this whole thing, and we're just going to try to mash it on as best we can and coat that whole entire ribbon, flatten this out. We're going to use more of this rod than what's here, than what we mashed. So it's going to take a minute to get this nice and hot and molten. And as we're doing that, we'll put some of this heat on the other side here as well. Keep it warm. There's a lot of grooves and stuff on that back side. Okay, so now I'm just being real careful not to touch this molten glass in my right hand with the already worked piece here. I don't want to accidentally attach them, so I'm being really steady and stable with my hands and my spin and concentrating to make sure that they do not touch. But also keeping this one close enough to where it's getting some of that heat on there, and that way it doesn't crack. You know, we want to make sure that this piece right here stays warm, and see how it just, as soon as I put it in the flame, it just glows right away. So that means it's getting plenty heat, stay nice and warm right back there. And see, I'm spinning this all in different ways, you know, like I got one spinning slower, one spinning faster. You definitely have to become ambidextrous and being able to use your left brain and your right brain at the same time to do this kind of glass blowing. It's like trying to play the piano, you know? And I don't play the piano, but I can blow glass and I can play the guitar. Alright, I think we're going to attempt to do this now. So we've got this hot enough here. Bring up this flame just a little bit more. Alright, we're going to get this nice and warm too. Make sure we have a good connection here. Everything's all flat, good. See, and by heating that up, I lost some of the heat here, so now I got to get this back to molten again. But it's pretty much right there, so it won't take too long. Alright, we'll let that heat flash onto that back side there. We're getting ready. Getting ready. Let's start off way up at the top. Smash it down. Like I said, we're going to use a lot of force to make sure that we encase that whole thing on both sides there. Yeah. And now the rod is stuck on there. Just kidding. I'm going to move it back to kind of thicken that center now. And then we're going to bring it back onto itself while it's molten. And then I'll probably just pull it off right there. Now we're going to mash all that glass down, and hopefully we can get all this big old chunk on top to mash down to the sides. So if you look at it, you can see that it's still skinny over here and a little bit here. So we're going to mash it down and hopefully get that glass to go on both sides. More so this way is what I'm seeing. And every time I keep it out of that flame there and I pull it out to the camera to show you, I lose that heat. So we got to then go back in and get it back to that molten state. But I kind of want to show you what's going on here and how it's how the glass is going to get moved and manipulated. So if you are a glass artist and you're attempting to make these, you know, you want to definitely know how to make your ribbon canes. I'm trying to just make this as centered as possible, and that way when I make it for the jellyfish, they just come out looking nice. And this is a rainbow ribbon cane in here. We got vertical lines of colors side by side. We only did 6 colors with 2 on the ends to encase them in the, I think it's a black adventuring. I really don't know what the color is, because it was in a prize package for the marble race, and I have no idea. They didn't have a label on it or anything. I just know who donated it and where it came from, and that I might be able to find out through them, I guess. Could ask them. Alright, so now we're going to sandwich this all up. I can move this over, I can move this over. We'll keep these colors here, I guess, so I don't lose them. And I could turn on my bigger torch, but I want to show you that you can make a really large ribbon cane like this with a smaller torch, smaller tip. If you just spend the time to do so, you can make it happen. Alright, I'm going to use the pad now. We're going to flatten this up and kind of manipulate it and force it over. Nice. So now you can see we got a lot of clear glass on each side here. So that's going to have a nice, what we need is just a little bit of clear glass on that, on the side of the ribbon cane, because we're going to be laying them down next to each other, and you want to have that empty space of clear glass so it makes, you know, so they're not just touching each other. That's all. When you're making the tentacles, you want to have that little bit of color in between it, because you got to remember, though, this is going to make so many ribbons, it's going to be ridiculous. Unless I turn it into something else. Maybe I can make a couple marbles for him. That'll be cool. He'll love some rainbow marbles. We'll make them 15 millimeter, 15 and a half. I think his marble racer, they have to be like 15, maybe 16 at the biggest for his toy marble racer, or they don't fit. Alright, we're going to try to center this too. So the rod, there's more clear glass on this side right here. So I'm going to smash it up against the pad here, and we're going to try to center the whole entire rod itself onto the end piece of this all here. So we're just going to force it over. There we go. Nice. Look at that. So now it's all nice and centered. Pretty good. And we'll just keep on heating this up. Get this nice and molten. We'll flatten it out some more. That clear glass will even go more out to the edges. We'll make sure that all that color glass is in there nicely. We'll flatten it a couple more times as we're heating up the whole entire the color piece here. It's not a ribbon yet. I guess you can call it a flat ribbon, but it's not a cane. It hasn't been twisted up yet. It hasn't been pulled into a cane yet. But this is the making of a ribbon cane. you now have flattened the color in between the clear glass. And you know, I should probably do a video on just ribbon cane, latticino, twisted cane, things like that, candy canes, whatever you want to call them, barbershop poles. You see, I'm working a good portion here. This is a good 1.5 inches long, at least 1 inch wide. But I'm keeping it all nice and hot with this 12-hole point tip here. You don't need to bust out the big torch. I could. I tend to like to use the smaller torch because as soon as I bust out that big flame, I'm using a lot more fuel, a lot more oxygen and propane. And if you can just keep the heat within your piece here, you can get it hot enough, molten enough, wet enough to where it'll do what you need it to do. Alright, so we're just going to flatten it some more, like I said, a couple more times. That's going to keep on widening that clear glass. And also it'll help with when we do the pull here soon. So we're going to pull it and twist it, and that'll create the ribbon cane. And I see we got 3 individuals watching here right now. I know eventually we'll have a lot more people watching. But you're welcome to join in on the chat. Say hi. Let me know where you're watching from. Let me know if you're a glass blower and watching. I don't mind sharing my knowledge for free. This is a $300 lesson right here that I would do live in person and work with someone. And, you know, we could work several times if you needed the help adjusting, figuring out things. But, you know, I could pretty much teach you all this stuff in one afternoon, and then you just go back to your studio and you just take that time to perfect it all and figure out how to make it happen for yourself. So I'm seeing that there's this color on this side over here. It's like almost trying to protrude out, and I'm thinking maybe I'll just add a little clear glass right there, just so we don't have to worry about that trying to come out or anything like that. So I'm going to heat up this portion here. We're going to get it nice and molten and then draw onto here, and that way I don't trap any air bubbles in that crease right there. So I'm going to get rid of the crease entirely. And you know, I don't know if I need to worry about the color. I mean, maybe. I do see it trying to pop out right there. You can see that bright light right there. You see that? Right there. It's trying to pop through the edge. So let's make sure that we got plenty of clear glass to encase it. I just want to get rid of that seam so we don't trap any air bubbles there. We're going to make it all nice and smooth. And there we go. It's all coming out right now. It's, you know, there's a little bit of an indentation, but it's not so bad. And we can now get this hot and we can start working it, and we'll add some clear glass right on top right there. And we'll just try to get that back into the center more. So you can manipulate glass in many different ways. I'm going to keep the rest of it hot. You want to make sure not to boil or burn this clear glass here. You don't want to add air bubbles to it. You want to do your best not to add any air bubbles. when you're doing your seals and adding glass to glass and things like that. Alright, so now we'll just add some clear glass right on top. Alright, I might have folded a little tiny portion of air. We'll see how that looks though. I don't think it's even going to be noticeable. I'll notice it. But that makes a world of a difference now. As you can see, we're already here for 1 hour, still working on the ribbon. So the ribbon cane takes about an hour. But once you make the ribbon cane, and you get all of it all melted and twisted, then it's pretty much game on in about 20 or 30 minutes to make the jellyfish. Alright, now you see how I did that? I added all that clear glass on the side right here, and now that ribbon is on the inside more. You can see how there's less clear glass up here and sticking out more here. I'm going to put the heat on the stick part and then move the heat this way, and it's going to allow that glass to slow down and it'll round itself out. So you're just going to get that all nice and molten again. We're going to bring it all the way from the rod over here. So we get all of this molten. And then we're just going to slowly just use gravity to let it all just flow back down this way towards this other seam here. And that's how you truly can manipulate glass. You can really make it move and flow. Once you can become a master of glass blowing and really learn how to master the glass and make it move and shape and everything. I've been doing this for 28 years now. Like I said, I started working on the jellyfish around 2000, 2001. I don't remember specifically. But by 2008, I had them perfected. And in around 2009 or 10, I was wholesaling them to the Albuquerque Aquarium gift shop here in Albuquerque, New Mexico, in the United States, U.S. And I had a wholesale account going for a while, wholesaling them for $10, and they would retailing them for like $39.99 or $49.99 in the gift shop. Which I sell these online for $30, and in person, if you're like here in Albuquerque and you run into me, usually I just let them go for $20, no problem, no questions asked at that point. You just get a jellyfish for $20, you know. Earrings also, $20 jellyfish earrings. If you find me in person, you know. If not, they're $30 online plus shipping. If you want one of these rainbow jellyfish, I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to do the cap yet. I wanted to do a rainbow cap, but it's not going to come out exactly how I want it to come out. And it's going to take a lot of work to make each little tiny cap. So what I'm going to do is just keep the stem or the tentacles all rainbow, and then we'll just do any color bell. Maybe what we'll do is we'll do a moonstone bell, so it's just all nice and like a translucent top. with all the colors in the tentacles. I think I hear doors opening and closing, so I don't know if my family's awake already or not. Kind of early. Usually they're not up till about 10 or 11. And then our son, who actually was requested if I could make a rainbow jellyfish, so this is on his behalf here. He actually got sick last night. He woke up with his stomach hurting so bad and bloated. We almost, I did call 911. I was about to have the ambulance come and get him. Our vehicle's down, so we can't just drive him to the hospital conveniently. So we were gonna have to call the ambulance and take him in because we didn't know what was going on. But then he just threw up everywhere. And then he had to go to the bathroom, so it was coming out both ends, and he wasn't doing good. And hopefully he's feeling better this morning. So I don't know if they're up right now, and if he's having any issues this morning or not. So if so, I may have to let you guys go abruptly. But you know, I think he's okay now, and he got it all out. And yeah, I don't know. He's been sick for the last week or so. And then he was better. And then he got sick again yesterday. So we'll see how he's doing today. But yeah, send your love and your blessing and your prayers to our 4-year-old son. And we'll make this will make him feel better too. We'll make him a few marbles actually. I think I should do that. That'd be really cool. Make some marbles out of this. Alright, so we got this nice and molten now. I'm going to probably flatten it one more time. And we got all that clear glass to move, like I said, from that one side to that area. So it's not as thick in one spot now compared to the rest. Try to move this glass over just a little bit more. I can see it's a little thicker right there. It's amazing that you can just move glass like that. Just let gravity, let the torch do your work, you know, and just be patient. This work right here is very Zen-like. If you can get into the point where you become Zen with the glass, and you allow this to become your meditation, instead of like you're trying to hurry it, rush it, you're trying to be in control. You have to get in the flow. You got to become part of the timing with the flame, with the torch, with the heat, with how much heat glass can even take in. You know, you can't just rush it and go from 0 to 60. This is something that you really do have to take your time when you're melting it and shaping it. Alright, so I need to get a tube now. Okay, perfect. Alright, let me just clean this up real quick with the Norwex OptiCloth. Always cleaning up, getting the dust, dirt, debris. This came directly off the floor. It's got a nice tip. This is a hollow tube from blowing glass or making some sort of vessel or something like that. Oh yeah, I was going to flatten it one more time. I forgot about that. Dang it, we just lost all that heat. This is going to be a really cool ribbon. Thank you. Thank you to my 4-year-old for inspiring me to make a rainbow ribbon cane. And like I said, making these ribbons, usually you can then make a bunch of jellyfish. I said 100 yesterday, and I would actually like to see how many I can make with that one pull that we did yesterday. You know, how many can I make with that one red or that orange pull? So we've made one so far, and every time that I make one, I'm going to keep track. We're going to see how many can we make with that. So I can be more realistic about it all. Oh yeah, we're going to flatten it. I was about to do the twisting already. I'm going to flatten it again. Alright, I don't know if I can flatten it much more than that. It's so thick. Let's get into the twist now. So now we're going to fuse this together here and make it all one piece of glass. Hopefully this doesn't pop off the tube. We're going to introduce the very tip, the edge only. We're not going to just push that in to the flame. We're also going to clean up the tip. So I see there's a little bit of schmeckle or whatever on the piece here. So I don't want any of that. So just pull that off. Nice clean connection. You know, like when you're gluing things together, you want to have a nice clean surface. Always clean it or sand it or something first. Alright, now we're going to connect this as center as possible. Fuse these together, so that just means melt them together pretty much. And then just get that heat in this whole piece. We're going to spin my right hand, let the left hand pretty much slow down the rotation, and it's going to start to spin this whole thing. Once it gets molten, we're going to be able to spin this whole thing out and make a beautiful ribbon cane. So a ribbon, basically, if you just think of like a long piece of crepe paper, you know, the streamers that you get for a birthday party, and those come flat, you know, in a rolled up, in a roll, you know, they're all rolled up, wrapped around itself. But then, you know, when we normally hang it, we'll put the twist in it, and then we'll tape it so then it all holds together. So that's what we're doing here, is we're making the crepe paper into a twist. So as you can see, we're getting all of that all twisted up in there, so that flat piece is now spinning around itself. And I have to do my best to make sure I'm not holding my arm up in a weird way. I'll try to be more conscious with it today, so I don't get my hand to go numb right here. Yesterday, holding all the weight of it and spinning it, my fingers went numb on me. I got an issue with my right arm. I have to make sure not to lift up my shoulder, my deltoid too much, or else it pinches something in my shoulders and in my elbow, and my fingers just start going numb, and it's not cool. I've been dealing with this for about 1.5 years now. So it's one reason why you won't see me make any large rigs or any big bubblers or anything, like not even my UFO pipes that I'm known for making. I had to quit making those because of the weight and not being able to hold them up. But maybe I can build up my strength and be more conscious-minded about how I'm holding my arm up and my shoulder and everything. Try not to get it to lock up. Alright, so right now we're just twisting this up and we're turning it into a ribbon. Beautiful ribbon cane. And then we're going to stretch this out to where, you know, it's going to be manageable, workable, at a good desired, you know, maybe a half an inch. Right now this is probably an inch thick, and so we're going to stretch this out to about half the thickness of the rod. So we should be able to double that stretch and double the amount of ribbon cane that we have. And the more we stretch, the more we're going to have. And eventually we're going to start pulling 1 millimeter increments from this, and also 3 millimeter and 1 millimeter increments to actually create the jellyfish. I can feel my fingers starting to go numb here. It's not fun, but I have to get through this. I'm trying to lift it up more with my left hand. I'm resting my right arm on the table here as I go down and try to relieve it as best I can. I don't know if you guys have been blowing glass for a long time. Are you guys having these issues now as a glass artist? I do a lot of stretching with my deltoids and my the traps. You know, there's something underneath my like, I don't know if you guys know anatomy, but you got your trapezius, you got your latissimus and your traps and your deltoids and your you know, your tricep, your forearm rotators, you know, and there's something going on with my ulnar nerve and some sort of pinch within my like deltoid and within the underneath, like by the latissimus dorsi. I know all of that because in high school I took 3 years of weight training because I was a skinny little dude in my freshman year, and I think by the second semester I was like getting picked on, or you know, people were like saying things to me, pointing out how skinny I was, you know, how bony and skinny. And I had friends who were like on the wrestling team, and they're like, well, why don't you just like come do some weightlifting with us, man, and bulk up. And so I started training with my friends and put on some weight. Went from 100 pounds to 135 by the time I graduated. 135 pounds in senior year. That's crazy. This is a beautiful ribbon cane. I'll tell you what. You mean to tell me for 40 years that I could have been making rainbow canes like this? Come on now. My fingers are completely numb. Oh my gosh, my thumb is numb. My index finger is numb. I can't really do much to stretch it. I'm trying to bring my neck over, my whole entire head over, so I can stretch out the whole trapezius and the deltoid. That ain't working. Just trying to melt this down, get this all nice and smooth. But I don't want to lose this ribbon cane. I want to make it nice and smooth so that way when we go back in and heat it up, I ain't going to crack it or nothing. Yeah, make a really beautiful bracelet right there. I learned how to make bracelets through Lewis Wilson's videos, and with the George O'Grady, Kevin O'Grady. I don't remember exactly who was making the bracelet demonstration on that video, but thank you so much. Knowing how to make glass bracelets is awesome. Knowing how to make beautiful ribbon cane like this also. So you see, we had all that clear glass on the edge, remember? But now that we twisted it up, it looks like there's barely any clear glass. So that's why we need that. So we can have that negative space. So when I lay this down next to another one, it ain't gonna just like all be laid upon each other. Alright, so now we're gonna get to the very end here, this tip. I'm gonna leave the rest of that thick because I really do need to get my hand off of this and really rest here. So we're gonna stretch this out. We're gonna spin it and stretch it. So I'm just gonna keep on twisting. Twist, 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 twist. Here, we'll go the opposite side too. We'll go the opposite way with the other hand. We'll twist it up. Oh my God. Alright, I'm going to take this off here. My finger, my whole hand is now starting to go numb all the way to the wrist. Oh, that's a lot. That is so weird. I can't feel these fingers here. I can feel my pinky. That's weird. My pinky is okay. But these four, I can't feel nothing. Neurological issues are fun when you're blowing glass. Alright, so I just got to basically bring my arm down, stretch my head to the side. I can feel there's like this relief, like blood is now flowing. There's a blockage. I don't know what's going on, but something when I lift my hand up and I hold it up for too long, a blockage is created right there. Okay. That is beautiful ribbon. Now we'll see if that is actually going to color the way we want it to. With all those colors in the center there. You know, we should be getting some red, some yellow, some blues, and all that in there. But right now it's so hot, you ain't gonna really see all them details. Okay, so I'm gonna cut it off about here. So that means all of that now is scrap. My hand's back to okay. It's so weird. Like now I have feeling again. It's so weird. I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. Alright, so now I'm going to use this here. You know, I should probably start with the fresh. And just pull this off and scrap all this here. Alright, so that ribbon cane took a minute. Took an hour and a half. That's a crazy ribbon cane though. And look at that. Now you can see them colors popping through. Oh, that is pretty. But are we going to be able to see them colors pop through when they're 1 millimeter, 2 millimeter tentacles? That's the question. Is it going to be worth it to stretch this out, or are we just going to keep this to make marbles? We'll find out on the next episode of The Glassman's World. Alright. So now I got to stretch out a little bit here. So that way we can draw the tentacles around the center. So now we're at the point where this is now part 2 of the video. And we're now working on the jellyfish. So basically at this point now, moving forward, this is where we're going to be. This is already pulled and ready to go. And I can now pull as much of that off of there to create the jelly. So we're now getting into building the jellyfish right now. So it goes from making the ribbon cane. As soon as you have a ribbon cane, then you can just make jellyfish. And if you have a pre-made ribbon cane, then you can just sit here and make jellyfish all day without having to spend that hour and a half, hour, however long it takes to make a ribbon. But look at that beautiful ribbon cane. Thank you to my 4-year-old for requesting such a beautiful piece of work right there. That is awesome. Good job. Okay, let's make this jelly now. So now we're going to go with a really tiny tight flame here with the little, I don't know what this is, 3 mil, 2 mil rod with the tinier rod. Going to draw on the side of it here. And just draw down like, I don't know, about 5, 6 millimeter, 7 millimeter maybe. We're just going to go around this whole entire ribbon cane here in the center. Alright, and then I was thinking about using that white color for the head or the bell. I'm going to have to add a little chunk of something else here. I guess it, no, you know what, we'll just leave it like that. We'll make it organic. Like one side, it looked like I'm missing a tentacle, but you're not going to be able to notice. You're not going to notice. No one's going to notice. They'll never notice. How will they notice? Alright, then we'll pull that out. Now I know where it all needs to be pushed in. So this whole set area from here to here, that's all the tentacles. A little bit lower than that, there's no tentacles on the outside, but you still have the center one. So we got to make sure we cut it off a little bit lower than that part right there. We're going to add this color glass right on the tip. Make sure we add enough to where when we push this into the clear glass, this is going to basically like implode, or like it's just going to blow up right in there. Like it's going to be amazing. It's implode, I guess is what they would call it. Open up. It's just going to bail out. Big old mushroom cap for the jellyfish head. Alright, so now we get a nice chunk there on top, which is at least probably half of the length of the rest of it there. So now you got your top portion there, which is your color. This is all the tentacles there. So, you know, you make it that color piece is about 1/3 of the length of the rest of it. Then we're just going to melt it all down together so it's all one. Nicely like that. And then we get our clear glass and we're going to just push this right into the clear rod. That simple. So here, let's use this one since this one's kind of oblong shaped and interesting. We'll melt this down and we'll use this. So when you introduce your flame, your glass into the flame, always start with the very tip. You don't want to go to that big old chunk especially when it's like all twisted up like that. You slowly introduce that heat to it. And eventually you'll be able to get this whole thing into that flame there. Right now we're still on just the very tip of it. Slowly getting that heat to work into there. It's kind of twisted up, so I didn't want to bring that heat into there too much, but I see it getting warm there now. Alright, so now we're going to melt this down. I'm going to hold it at a 45-degree angle with the rod up and this tip down. That way this glass just kind of falls to the bottom of the rod here. Letting gravity just pull it all down, shape it back to round. You know, it looked like it was all twisted up there from the twist it came. From the two pieces of glass that was sandwiched together. And now we just got to round this up. You know, you could round this on the marving pad, but I don't want to get any sort of gunk or anything onto it. So we're just going to be patient with it. We're going to slowly round this up back to a rod. It's a lot more molten than we really need for the jellyfish right now. But I'm really trying to just set this back up to a rod so we don't have all those ripples and everything. Alright, that looks a lot better. Alright, so now it doesn't look like two rods all twisted up. Looks a lot nicer, more uniform. Now we're going to let it cool down so we can heat up only the tip. Because now that whole portion, if you push that in, it's going to want to go in that deep, and we don't want it to go in that much. So I'm going to blow on it. Help to cool it down. And then we'll just bring that tip right into the flame again. We'll get this molten here, and then we're going to just push that jellyfish, the tentacles, and that color tip directly into the molten tip here. And it will magically go through the liquefied glass, and it'll hit the solidified glass and have nowhere to go. And basically that colored glass on the tip, as we push it in, it's going to just like spread out and kind of come back towards itself in an implosion. And we're about to do that right now. Get ready in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then we'll get this direct center. Push it in. We watch how we push it. It hits that part where it starts to turn into like a mushroom. We know the tentacles are now pushed in all the way. So now we can push them in a little bit further. We don't want to push them in all the way underneath the bell, and have just enough to have a center tentacle to pull off like that. I round that up to get that ready for the next one. That's ready to go now. And this is going to be an experiment to see if this is going to actually look like a rainbow jellyfish or not, guys. We won't know until it's all cooled down and out of the kiln later, really. But we'll be able to see a little bit before I take it off the punchy and everything and drop it in the kiln. So let's get this all molten here now. Keep the torch and the flame on the above the cap or the bell of the mushroom or the jellyfish here that we have pushed into the molten glass. So basically this is how you push a mushroom, the very basics of making glass jewelry. You know, you usually learn how to make a mushroom and a twisty spiral inside, and even making flowers and things like that. So if you know how to make a mushroom, then this is exactly the same, except extremely more intricate, with having to do the ribbon cane, having to layer the ribbon cane, get it all prepared as a stringer together, and you're only using one little portion of that ribbon cane, so you can't just like pull a whole bunch out like you would for making production mushrooms and things. So it is a lot longer of a process. These are a lot more one of a kind. And yeah, they're definitely a lot higher in level of difficulty than just your standard mushroom. A lot of people look at them like, oh, look at those mushrooms. Like, yeah, actually, those are jellyfish. And then they'll look at them like, whoa, how did you do that? And this is how. And I tell them, go on ahead to my website here, and you'll see. You'll see right here on the live demo, live video, on how I make gardenia glass jellyfish jewelry. Alright, so now I'm looking at it. I can see that the cap, I don't even know where the cap is because I'm using that translucent color. So I'm going to do my best to just put this in the right direction. Flatten the back. Add the cobalt. That way it looks like it's floating in the ocean. So you can see it there. It's going to be just upside down for a minute. As I get this molten, and we'll get this attached to the flat back here. And yeah, like I said, I don't know if we're going to really see that rainbow because it's so tiny in detail that, yeah, maybe I can do a rainbow jellyfish. Technically, this is a rainbow jellyfish. I think we're going to have to make the bell the rainbow to actually really make it bell out. You know what we could do is we could draw the rainbow colors around this moonstone color. That might look really cool. And then it would just like, I don't know how that would look. That would be kind of interesting. We could try that. I'm into trying all kinds of things. So that little bit of blue glass on this flat back here is going to basically get magnified on the front, and it's going to look like this whole entire jelly is all within one blue cobalt pendant, and it's not going to look clear when you look at it straight on, but when you look at it on the sides, you'll be able to see that it actually is just all clear glass. Kind of like the way water works, right? The ocean looks blue against itself, but once you put it into a glass of water, pretty much goes clear. I know the ocean water isn't clean and clear, but you get my point. Alright, so now we flatten it, just like that. And I'll also just go directly to the table and see if we can just do this all in one. Nice. There we go. Let me heat this up, get rid of those heat rings there. We'll keep it nice and warm. Bam, there you go. Look at that, how it glows. So cool. And then it comes out, and it's going to look like you're going to have like a sunset in glass. And then you should be able to see that jelly. And I like the bell. It's like really translucent. That's really interesting. But I don't know about them tentacles. Them tentacles below it look like they're hardly there. So I don't know if those colors are going to work. But it'll make a beautiful marble. So this is technically a rainbow jellyfish, although it's not a rainbow jellyfish. All that work, right? And you never know until you get to the end. But I can show my son that, yeah, I did draw the rainbow, did do all that. I did try my best. And we can try again, right? If at first you do not succeed, try and try again, continuously, over and over again. But always changing it up. Don't do the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. You know, like make the colors thicker. Do something different to make that rainbow stick out. You know, like I said, we can do a bell cap, and maybe we should try that, and actually make a true, authentic rainbow. So we can call this a true rainbow jellyfish video here. So we're going to do one more attempt. This doesn't take too long to make these. Alright, now we pull it. We make sure we keep that nice and straight. That blue in the back. As soon as we get to about that part, we can pull it, bring it over on the side, keeping that blue on the inside of the curve. We're next to Kirtland Air Force Base, so we always got jets flying over and stuff. We might have another flyby here in a second, because usually they fly in 2s or 3s. That came out of nowhere. What the heck, man? Trying to make a video here. Alright. So now we got that big old knob from melting that off, so just flatten it. Heat it up. Alright, we're going to make one more, but we're going to draw all the rainbow around the bell of the next one here. But this one, it's still, you know, it still comes out. It still looks beautiful. It still looks like a jellyfish. Just make sure that's nice and straight. Always looking at it this way too to make sure that this is nice, you know, at a 90-degree angle. Looking on it dead on, straight on like that, making sure it's vertical like that. And that's pretty much done, guys. So like I said, you can't see the tentacles in there really. Maybe up close and personal, I can see them, but I don't know if you guys can really see that there. So, all of that for nothing, maybe. Maybe someone will still love it. Maybe those colors will come out because they're still hot. You got to remember that too. That bright yellow might just pop right out, you know, and all the different colors in there. Because they're so hot, you might not really be able to see them at this moment. Alright, then we clean up that punching mark. We see a sunset in glass. And we drop this in the kiln. Let's move on to the next one. Alright, so now we're going to get this prepared first. So real simple. We're just going to add them colors around it, like I said. Okay, let's clean this up first. melt it down. Alright, so we got this color all ready to go. We're just going to draw little stripes down the side. Alright, and then we got the green. So we did red, orange, yellow, green. Blue. And the purple. Alright, now we got our rainbow stringer here. And those colors can maybe come together a little bit better. So I started laying them really far apart to make sure we had plenty of space. And now these ones need to come together some, so I'm just going to squeeze them together. Alright, that'll work. Alright, so bring up the flame a little bit. Don't want to add too much oxygen to oxidize it. Alright, and as we pull it, we're going to twist. Which I'm thinking maybe we should use some sort of piece of glass here. Little handle to help us, to assist us in the melting and the twisting here. Make sure we get this all nice and melted down. Better now. Alright. I gotta show my boy that I can pull off a rainbow. Gotta make it happen. Alright, so now I'm just gonna twist this and pull it. And there we go. So now we got ourselves a nice rainbow cane right there that we can use. Cool. So that's all twisted up. And now let's do this. Do it all over again. And actually, we'll use this little one here. Since we got that little bit of rainbow on the tip, might as well utilize it. Alright. Alright, so now we're going to draw this little tiny skinny thing here onto this one here. Okay. Then we go with the rainbow tip. We grab it, pull it. And leave some rainbow right here on the top. Okay, we gotta make sure that's enough. You don't want to add more than we're gonna keep that spiral. Let's see how that spiral looks when we push it in now. That's gonna be quite interesting. Alright, let me just get this ready here, round it up on the tip. Alright, so there we go. Let's get this in the glass. Alright, this will be the last one here, guys, for this demo, which we're now at 116 minutes, so we're basically at 2 hours right now. If I can make this in 4 minutes, that would be amazing, but that ain't gonna happen. Alright, but this is gonna be a 2-hour demo, guys. And I can now start a whole nother video, and we can do just a real quick demo on how to make a rainbow jellyfish. Because now we can just start from this point, and I do believe now we got the rainbow that's going to come in, especially with that cap on there. If that don't look like a rainbow, then I don't know. I don't know how to make a rainbow jellyfish if this don't work. There's only a couple other ways that I can stack the colors like that to get it to work. So let's see. Here we go. Oh, not that one. Get that all nice and molten so it's ready. Go in the center. Make sure it's centered. Keep it in there. Bam. Get all those tentacles in there. There we go. Home free. Cut off that center one. That's ready for more. Let's go to the top of the cap or the bell here. Let's get that air bubble out. I'm just simply holding it parallel with the table here and allowing that gravity to just slowly let the glass get molten and the gravity do its job to squeeze it, allow the glass to collapse upon itself and squeeze out the air while it's doing so. Yeah, and if that don't look like rainbow on the top this time, then I don't know. And I don't really know about the tentacles or not. That's still another thing. We might have to still worry about trying to make that happen. And maybe we're just going to keep that for a marble. So maybe on the next video here today, we'll work on making a rainbow marble and a couple other cool things. Alright, we're at the end here, getting that air pocket out. It takes a moment. Alright. And then trying to figure out which side you want it to be. Front, which one you want back. Now it's to flatten on that side. Add your cobalt. Now we're 2 hours in here. I don't know exactly how many minutes. Alright, we got this cobalt nice and molten now, so we can attach it to the back. Start way at that bottom, push it down, and then pull it up, and finish it off by going towards that, what I call the top. I mean, I guess I'm going lower than the top of the rod, but this will become the top of the pendant eventually, or the necklace here. So they always say pull it upward, when really I'm pulling it down. And I'm meaning as in relation to the jewelry itself. Now we just got to melt this cobalt to the backside here, get it all flush and all, you know, sink it in to actually get it all one, to sink it, like make it one, as in like sinking, melting it in, letting it melt in, to sink it into it. And then I'll use this paddle to make sure I push that cobalt towards the bottom. I'll probably go in and just flatten it at this point, which then makes it nice and wide. And look at that, we got some colors in there. We can definitely see colors in there now on that cap. It should be rainbow. It better be rainbow. It better be. But we won't know until it cools down. So I'm going to melt down this backside here, make sure it's all nice and flat. Make sure we did a good job centering it and everything. Which I can see on one side looks a little off. Alright, that looks better. Get rid of all the those air rings and everything. We can get our punchy. And check it out, let that cool off for a minute. So we keep this out the flame, let it cool. We get this punchy molten, attach it. And now we can stretch it out here. I keep hearing some sort of bangs and booms, so I don't know if that's thunder or if that's in the house here and doors are opening or things. Like, what's going on? Just the washer, the dryer? Like, what am I hearing? Alright, so now we just pull that. Make sure that that blue stays nice and in the back. As soon as we get to about there, pull it forward. Start pulling it around. Use that flame to help guide it back down. Get that pushed back to the center as best you can. I always like to clean this up since that heat's right there. We'll just clean it up. Pull that off real quick because there's a little bit of cobalt on there. So just clean it up. That way you start with a clean slate every time. So heat that up. And get the loop all sunk and it's basically all fused together so it all looks like one piece of glass. Make sure it's straight this way as well. Yeah, that looks good. Alright, now, do we see rainbow? I don't know. I don't know if we're going to be able to actually tell until it's out of the kiln, cooled off, and will we actually be able to see any rainbow color in there or not. Alright, you guys, I'm going to end it with that one. I don't really like the way these tentacles are coming out. I don't think we can use the rainbow for the tentacles, but we can definitely make marbles with that. And some beautiful rainbow pendants, necklaces, earrings, things like that. So we're not going to let that rainbow ribbon cane go to waste, that's for sure. We're just not going to waste it in any more jellyfish because I don't know if it's showing up or not. That's the only problem. But there you have it, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching. I'm Dan the Glass Man. This is the Glass Man's World. And here, let me flip the... Let's drop this thing into the kiln. And we'll call it a day. Alright, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in and watching. I'll be back again later on today or sometime. I don't know exactly when. We'll probably work on the rainbow. Look at this. Now that this is cooled down, let's at least take a look at that. That's beautiful, right? So hopefully the jellyfish will actually look, you know, you might be able to see. Here, let me flip this around real quick. Okay. So you might, oh, don't touch it. So you might be able to see all the way to the very skinny. You can see some color in there. There might be some tentacles that are showing up in there, but that is a beautiful ribbon cane right there. That's going to make for some beautiful marbles and different things, pendants, whatever, all kinds of stuff. So that's how you make a ribbon cane, beautiful rainbow ribbon cane. And yeah, that's about it. I'll play with that some more later on today. And I'm going to take a break and have some breakfast, have a little 420 sesh, and see if my family will be up here soon. And If not, I might be right back to make a marble real quick. So thanks for tuning in and watching. I'm Dan the Glass Man. We'll see you soon.